within the MapRight interactive map, and we're taking a look at tract 11, which is toward the center of the screen. You can see it here, tract 11, 10 acres in size. One of the tracts out here that has electric right on site, literally already crossing over the property, which is super nice if you ever need it. As we look at this here, where do we want to begin? We're kind of zoomed in. Let's start right there. This is a wintertime base map, probably a Google map. MapRight uses different base maps. Because this is a wintertime map, we really don't see any of the greenery or leaves on the trees, but it makes it easy to tell essentially the hardwood trees from the cedar or pine trees. Because, of course, in the wintertime, the hardwood trees don't have their leaves, but the cedars and pines do have some greenery. So as we look at this map, if you see the darker green kind of splotches, those are going to be either cedar or pine trees. In this area, we know that it's probably almost all cedar trees for the dark green areas you see. And then the rest of the property is going to be primarily, it's essentially all wooded, other than maybe some natural openings and trails and the little creek beds. It's essentially all wooded, and it's mostly hardwood. So the guys have seen red oak, white oak, hickory, walnut trees, some beautiful sycamore trees. I mean, they've just seen a ton of different species of tree out here, or trees out here. The property itself, about 330 feet wide, and goes back to the south from the county road for about a quarter mile. It's about 10 acres in size. As we look at this, it does have direct frontage on the county road on its entire north side. A little hard to see in the map, but that's Hickory County 66. Fairly well-maintained county road. Goes back to the south. The yellow dashed line you see is the electric line. So that is literally right on the property, and it's toward the north side, so it's not, eating into your usable space, but it's there if you need it, which is pretty much ideal. As we go back on the property, why don't we go to the topo map, and that'll kind of tell us how this lays. So this particular tract 11, it's interesting. By the way, the blue dashed lines that you see kind of going all over the place are little creek beds that were running when we were out there. So we basically know that these creek beds are going to be either seasonal or wet weather creek, however you want to put it. They don't run all year. It's very unlikely they run all year. But the couple times we've been out there, they've been running to some extent each time. So it is kind of neat. So we sketched in about where those creek beds are on the various properties. And this particular tract 11, has several of them. As you look at the topo map, the creek beds are essentially running through valleys, and they all go northwesterly, and then they end up in the Little Niagara River, which flows into the Lake of the Ozarks. But as we look at the topo map from the property itself, from the north side at the county road, when you're heading southerly, it slopes down, and then you can see you've got that first creek bed you get to. I think we have a video of that somewhere. You cross that creek bed, it slopes back up, and then you actually have a pretty good sized level area, about 300 feet or so back on the property. So it might be a nice potential spot for a build site or a campsite or hunting camp. As you go south from there, it slopes down again, and then you have the second valley, or the second creek bed. Moving southerly from there, it slopes back up generally, and then it's going to be probably the highest at the southeast corner back here, where there appears to be some type of level area. And also you do have this other creek bed, which flows, when it flows, south to north, and then meets up right here on the property with that creek bed, and then they go westerly. So a lot of really cool creek beds. We really haven't explored the property other than from what you see on the videos, and a little bit in the creek beds, but really neat to see those ancient creeks. They go from a gravel base to a flat rock base, and then everything in between. So it's super cool. You get some awesome rock features. As far as if you're looking for a level site to build or camp or whatnot, likely this area here, a few hundred feet back from the road, you'd have to create some kind of driveway or trail to get to it, of course, but it would get you well beyond the setback from the road. The topo map does appear to show that it's level. You'd have to get out there and verify that with your own eyes. the cool thing about this MapRight is, and we have the paid version, but unless MapRight has changed their system, you can view this map for free on your phone. You download the app. Last we checked, it's better if you don't get an account. You just download the app and then use the directions that we've provided on our website in order to open it up and view it on your phone. But there are different features that you might only get with the paid version. So like if we go over here and you see this little kind of polygon looking thing, area measurement tool. So if we click that, if we want to get a rough idea about this this area here that appears to be level, and it's showing us that's about a half an acre in size. So depending on how level it is, that's a pretty good sized area for a camp or even a home. When you consider most residential lots in the city are a quarter acre or less. And in this area, really having any flat ground is somewhat unusual because this is the Ozarks and there's a ton of hills and hollers and ups and downs out here. So going back to the Google map, and it's fun because you can kind of zoom in and play around and often see neat features just with the aerial mapping that you wouldn't see even when you're out at the property. But kind of the special ones on this particular tract, obviously in addition to being very close to the Muleshoe Conservation Area and the Little Niagara River and all that good stuff, it is one of the tracts that has power directly on site. If you don't need it, then it might not interest you that power's on site, but it does add value to the property. So at some point when you sell your property, if you ever do, having the power on site certainly improves the value. In the meantime, if you do need to hook into the power, it's just really nice. It saves a lot of hassle to literally have the line physically on your site. And if we look at this, we can zoom way in. You can see the actual power poles. And according to this, because you can see the shadow from the power pole, according to this, you actually have a pole. So not only does the line cross over the property, but you physically have a pole on the property. So that's going to really minimize the cost if and when you do want to get power to your tract. Is there's literally a pole right there, so they don't even have to set a fresh pole. They could put the transformer on that pole generally in the meter, and then depending on where on the property you needed the power, it's likely to be the most minimal cost on a property like this. So that's pretty cool. Good access obviously to the property with the county road frontage, which is fantastic. We saw the topo here, so we know it does slope down coming off the county road. You'll want to check out the ground video and the drone video, but oftentimes the ground video can be a better way to, see if a property, see how it really looks. And everybody has a different idea about what's steep and what's not, and what, you just kind of have to look at it. Ideally, you'll make a site visit out there to kind of get an idea of what you want to do as far as if you want to put in a driveway. Might be fairly simple on this property, or it might not. It just depends on what you want and what you plan to do out there. But having the topo and having the aerials gives you a good start on making a game plan. So super nice tract. Total of only about 18 tracts out here at the Muleshoe project. Extremely private. I mean, we were so excited to get in and do this project because so much stuff came together that you seldom see on one property, as far as having the access into the conservation, the Little Niagara River, just literally half a mile away, the conservation area is, having the direct county road frontage, which is phenomenal, having the power on site. I mean, we never get all those things together on one property, so it's pretty cool to be able to have this on tract 11. And there are other properties that it's the tracks on the north side that have the power available, but even the other tracks, the power is in the area. But if you're going with a tract like tract 11, it's going to minimize your hassle just having the power physically on site. So really cool property. Check out the other videos. If you have any questions, please let us know.